This is our final session. Who would have believed it? 21 events over the course of the week. A range of things, so many things that we've all taken part in, and we know that some people have been to loads and loads of events, so thank you so much for all of your support. It's been tremendous, and for the warm wishes that you've been kind of sharing with us this week. Just to remind you, I'm sure you've heard this a number of times, that our online festival is a culmination of 17 face-to-face events that we've had over the course of the year to celebrate 10 years of DEEP. So we've met hundreds of people out in the DEEP network, and there are loads of films that we have created to share those stories. And then we've had this special week this week to think about DEEP, to talk about DEEP. We've done so much crying about DEEP and so much laughing about DEEP. So we've tired Paul out. So we're so glad that you've been able to join us here today. I think this will be a really special session. We'll just do a little bit of reflecting, and then we're going to move on to the reason you're all here, which is to hear the launch, the premiere of our new piece of music created by and with and about DEEP. So we'll just keep you on tenterhooks for a little while there. We're recording this session. If you want to contribute, you can write things in the chat box. I know that's not for everyone, but please do. It's been a great way of just kind of keeping in touch. Before we start, can I ask my compatriots to introduce themselves? So I'm Rachel from Innovations in Dementia. Chris.
Yep, hello, I'm Chris from Ashford in Kent. I'm living with dementia and have been for the last 10 years.
Thanks, Chris. Paul.
Well, am I on? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So my name's Paul. From Liverpool. Diagnosed 8 years ago with dementia, and part of Thread Group in Liverpool, and part of the DEEP group as well for the last 6 years or so, I think.
Thank you, Paul. Tommy, we've just sprung this on you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Tommy. I'm also living with Alzheimer's. I'm up in Liverpool, and I'm a member of the Thread Group. I'm a very, very proud associate of DEEP for as long as I've had dementia.
Thank you, Tommy. Drew.
Yeah. So I'm Drew. I'm actually Chris's son. I did some of the technical work. I did Dad's musical instruments and the video that involves him.
Thank you, Drew. Rachel.
Hello, I'm the other Rachel, Niblock 1, and I'm the DEEP coordinator.
Philly.
Hi everyone, I'm Philly from Innovations in Dementia, and I'm up in the Outer Hebrides.
Thank you, Philly. And Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm one of the directors at Innovations in Dementia, and I'm the one that kind of pulled together all the disparate threads of the piece, one of the pieces of music you'll be listening to later.
Thanks, Steve. And we have another colleague, Damien, who may come in at the end. Otherwise, we'll all have airbrushed him out of 10 years of DEEP, and we might, when we're looking back on this, we might forget about him, so just want to mention him. So I just wanted to make an acknowledgement really about this special week. I know a lot of you have been in various sessions, but I've gathered, I've gained such a lot from, it was a stressful week to organise in the beginning, as we opened up the doors on Monday morning with the launch with Jane Garvey, and now we're on Friday afternoon and we're much more relaxed. Philly's even got her Christmas twinklies on, and it just feels like a really special week that we've spent with many of you and together in screens like this. So we've had 600 hits over this week, by which I mean 600 people, sometimes the same person, so you have to, we're going to have to delve a bit deeper, but 600 hits have been into these sessions. We've had 21 sessions, so we've had such a turnout, and we're a small organisation, so that would have been really hard for us to have organised a big conference that people had to come to hear these incredible words of wisdom that we've shared this week. So we're delighted with that, but we will be turning all of the recordings into static recordings that people can watch in the future. So the job isn't done. There's a lot of things that we're going to do next. And as we get towards the end of today's session, we'll just touch on the future, because this is about DEEP, and DEEP is 10 years old, and what next? So we'll touch on that as we come to the end. Everybody here, don't feel obliged, but what have your your quick reflections on the week? Does anyone want to say anything? People on my screen, I mean. Rachel. Chris, go.
No, I was going to be ladies first, but no, I've come to an awful lot of sessions this week. I did actually miss 2, in honesty, so I didn't get a perfect score, but every one of them was inspiring and uplifting, and I went away, every single one of them, feeling even more uplifted, and it's been a phenomenal week. Quite tiring, both for the watcher and for the doers at your end, I would believe, but I wouldn't have changed this week. If I did another week like it, I'd do it.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Paul.
Yeah, I just think from the point of view, it's we're in the Christmas period, and it's just so nice to see all the smiling faces, and all the stuff what we've achieved over the last 10 years or so. It's been amazing. When you think back all the stuff what's gone on, it's just been incredible. Just one thing after another.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been my reflection, has been just what a lot of work the DEEP network has done together, and what a variety of things. We've moved from human rights to writing poetry together, to reflecting on the qualities that make a DEEP facilitator. We've been all the way around the DEEP network in terms of how it operates, but also the influence that it has. Any other comments? Billy?
Yeah, I think maybe I have beaten you, Chris, because I think I have been to every session. And I haven't always had a job to do, but it's been wonderful for me just to block out this week and immerse myself in everything DEEP and use it to reflect on everything, not that we've achieved, but that all of you, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, have achieved together. And I just wrote down a list of adjectives that have come to mind. So I'll just quickly read them out. Emotional, inspiring, moving, knackering, wonderful, validating, creative, honest, hilarious, stressful, loving, thoughtful, joyous, respectful, supportive, utterly fabulous.
Oh, brilliant. Tommy?
What I'd like to say is that we always talk about hope in dementia. Everywhere we talk about is hope. And if I was an artist and I was to paint a picture, it'd be of the DEEP groups and what DEEP stands for, because that personifies to me what hope is. I can actually see what hope is. And that's one of the greatest gifts that you have given us with dementia. You've shown us what hope looks like.
Thank you, Tommy. I'm going to move on to a film that you've probably all seen at some point during this week, but I think it does encapsulate what this year has been about. It's an introduction to the DEEP network via all of the work that has happened in these kind of face-to-face events over the last year.
DEEP stands for Dementia Engagement and Empowerment Project. We, DEEP, are celebrating 10 years of DEEP this year. And there has been 17 face-to-face celebrations throughout the UK. My name is Dory and I've been involved with DEEP for 7 years. For me, DEEP represents unity, kindness, respect and friendship. And what I hear from my peers all the time is that we meet people from all walks of life who otherwise we never would have met. Because we have dementia, we feel we're in the same boat and we can share with each other, learn from each other and support each other. We find somewhere where we belong. There are many tears along the way, but we must admit they mainly come through laughter. It's extraordinary that people you've never met are like family after a very short time of being together. We breed confidence in each other. We become more confident to talk about things that matter to us. We know we have a right to have our say. Together we can challenge things that are not right. We value each other and we look after each other, and we've got each other. I am DEEP and we are DEEP. We have achieved something extraordinary. We went into lockdown in March 2020 and we connected even more widely through different corners of the country and the world of Zoom. People even learned from using the Zoomettes guide we had created the year before. Deepers were creative, kind and shared so much support through a very dark time. We also lost many friends along the way and groups, and recovery continues to be a challenge, and there is no one single answer. COVID changed all of our lives, but together as a network there is passion. There will be a range of expertise, different ideas and support to help us all. The most unlikely friendships are formed in the most unlikely situations. We are stronger together. The Still Me group in South Wales celebrated 10 years of DEEP. They used trees as a way to represent the DEEP network, based on the saying, mighty oaks from small acorns grow. Tree roots reflect how much goes on beneath the surface and behind the scenes. Their roots knit and weave and reach further than we ever know or see. If there's a tree struggling, the other trees around send out their roots far and wide, healing and supporting that tree. How far-reaching the seeds we scatter, grow and are nurtured, nourished and shared. Today we celebrate that network of that magnificent tree, which is DEEP. We are all unique and wonderful, but together as a DEEP network, we are a masterpiece.
You'll be hearing the thing about the tree later as well. It's so good. It's so good we used it twice.
So just before we launch into the music, Rachel has a special job to do. Would you like to explain what it is, Rachel?
Yeah, so the wonderful Gail Gregory, who you may recall during lockdown, she created lots of DEEP teddy bears. Well, for the Dementia Congress, which was our last in-person event, Gail created a special, DEEP 10th anniversary teddy bear, which is particularly cute. And I would like Tommy to give me a number between 1 and 40. And the number that you say is on the attendance list of the people who are on the Zoom today. And that person will receive the teddy bear. The little drum roll. Oh, Tommy, you're on mute.
I said 40. 40.
40. That's Jane Snape from the Beth Johnson Foundation.
That's what I thought it would be.
If Jane Snape is on the call, then hopefully she is. Then she will be the proud recipient of the Deep Bear.
And I hope you haven't got a phobia of teddy bears. And there is such a thing, apparently.
Not.
Okay, so I'm now going to hand over to Steve and his musical bunch.
Steve's musical bunch. One of the worst names for a band I've ever heard. Well, okay, so I think we'll just have a bit of a chat really about what we've done and why we've done it. And by way before we go on to play, going to play Paul's song first and then the other piece second. Before we do that, I'll just to give you a little bit of background. Rachel, this is your fault actually, Rachel Litherland, because you asked me if I'd be prepared to put together a piece of music with people with dementia to celebrate DEEP. That was a while ago now, and we've probably been working on this together. Certainly myself and Chris and Paul, along with a few others, for a couple of years now, and most of that has been, I think, as is often the case with extravagant ideas. You know, we went down tried a few things out, went down a few blind alleys, but it really started to come together this year. And if I just explain what influenced my thinking at the start of this year, I was thinking to myself about what the real essence of DEEP was. And I think it's about the relationships between people with dementia. It's about the solidarity, the support and the love that's grown up between people over these last 10 years. And it really came to a head when I heard Dory reading in one of her dementia diaries. She was reading from one of her favorite books. So the boy, I get this thing wrong, the boy, the mole, the horse, and yeah, anyway, I'll maybe Dory can correct me later. But in that there's a phrase that says something like I'm scared, and the horse says, we're all scared, but I've got you. We're less scared together. And there's something for me about the words "I've got you" that really captured something. So I was mulling on that, and then I've got you, I've got you, I've got you. And I came across, I don't know if you can hear this. Okay, just a single 2-note thing. And I thought, well, why don't we base the whole piece on "I've got you"? So that's when I turned to Chris. And Chris, do you want to take it up from there? You can tell everyone what a complete bodger made of the notation, if you like.
Well, yes, it is quite complicated when you did the piece of music and you sent it out to me. And the idea is that as you'll see later on, there are eight separate parts that I play, and we put them all together. The thing is, when you play a piano, it's in what's known as the key of C. But when you play a trumpet or a cornet, the instrument is pitched a tone lower. So you have to write the part a tone higher, so it sounds the same as the piano part. When you come to the E flat horn, which is the other instrument we used, that's a tone and a half different. And so when you're trying to do it, it's quite mind-blowing because you have to work out, well, which way has that got to go? And yeah, so the music was sent through, and Drew and I looked at it, and we realised it wasn't but it wasn't going to be in the right keys, or it wasn't going to combine together well. So what Drew did is he then transferred it across to one of his magic music programs, rewrote the parts, put them in, and it all came out lovely jubbly. So now we've got the musical parts. Now it was the recording of those musical parts. And initially, when we started out, it wasn't going to work recording it online. So we needed to use a program to do it. The first program that we used didn't quite work out, because when it came to trying to put all the videos together, it wasn't going to work. So the work that Drew and I had done, we then scrapped and we redid it again using a different program. So what you'll see later on is a clever combination, which Drew then put together. He recorded me, and then he put it all together, and you'll see it later on what he managed to achieve. And he put hours of work into doing it, as has Steve. He probably hasn't gone to bed for the last month trying to put it all together. And Rachel's shaking her head knowingly that he hasn't come to bed in the last month. The work behind the scenes, it's one thing to play the tunes, as no doubt Paul will back me up and Tommy will back me up. It's one thing to do that, but then you leave it to the geniuses in the back rooms to then pull it all together. And so, is there anything you'd like to say, Drew, about the process?
Not at the moment. No, I think probably otherwise it's kind of spoilers, isn't it? Because people haven't seen the video yet.
We can maybe talk. We can talk, because we'll be having a chat about it afterwards. I just want to go back a few months though, because the actual inspiration, those two notes that I played to you, actually came from a piece of music that Paul and Tommy wrote together. Because while I was thrashing around, probably about 18 months ago, when we weren't getting anywhere with it, Paul said, "Do you know what? Just bung us a bit of a wedge, and I'll go and do it." So, Paul, do you want to tell us a bit about how your song came together, Paul?
Yeah, where did the bunga wedge come from? Where's it gone? I don't recall that one.
Paid it to the studio, Paul.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I thought something maybe 4 or 5 minutes long, with a dialogue in, which Tommy was supposed to do, but he said he was teeing off at 8 o'clock in the morning the day we got to do it in the studio, so I had to do it myself. I had to do the way how could I put it? Anyway, so we decided between Steve and I, we just give it the name Symphony, and decided that hopefully in the future everybody could jump on it and we'd knock it about. But I think there was over 40 or 50 stems from the studio what got sent over, because it's not only the voices, and even though they're double tracked, it's every individual thing has to go into Steve's mixing desk, and then the basis for the song was there. But there's so many people taking part and could play instruments that it was just completely turned around the way that Steve saw it to fit in with the whole deep thing. Yeah, so it was and I've heard the song, and it's great. It's great. Everybody gets a chance to say something, which was the point of the whole thing. But yeah.
They sure do.
Yeah,
but your song, Paul, I thought it works so well as a song in its own right. The "We Are the Storm," which we're gonna play in just a moment, with lyrics written by Tommy. And I think you're playing most of the instruments, aren't you? And certainly doing all of the vocals and the choral stuff. It's all you, isn't it?
Yeah, I did the synth and piano, and I don't know whether there's an acoustic guitar underneath it. I can't remember. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't even remember any of the words, to be honest with you, apart from the chorus. But that's what, like, Tommy writes most of the lyrics, so we knock them about between each other, and we, that bit comes quite quickly, because you can speak a lot about dementia. But yeah, so that's how it worked out anyway. Yeah.
And it was there were there's a particular movement in your song which also appears in the
horns,
the other piece, the horn
horn
part.
yeah. The haunting horns, yeah.
The haunting horns.
Haunting horns.
And those two little notes, D D D, I've got you. But I'll come on to those in just a moment. Shall we listen to your song now? And then I'll go to say a little bit more about how the final finished piece came together. So should we play your song now? Yep. This is We Are the Storm by Paul and Tommy.
Rays of summer dance across my ceiling. I heard the news today. It didn't help my feelings. How do I tell my children? How do I tell my friends? So many reaching out for love. The story never ends. Never ends. The knock on the door, the fear in my eyes, the flames of my life extinguished. Well, who do I turn to? Which path do I take? It's not only me, no. Millions in our world face loneliness and confusion. Come on, don't sit in your chair, gazing out of the window. Let's all shout. Let's all share our voices. Don't give in. We have support. We have so much to give back. And so much more to achieve in our lives. Together we can raise hope. Sing once more. Laugh out loud. Watch the sunrise over the mountain. Swim in a warm sea. But most of all, fight the storm. Because we are the storm. We are the storm. We are the storm. We are the storm.
Well, I tell you what, let's go straight on and play the next piece, and then we'll kind of get some reactions to both. Because what happened was, I was so inspired by that, we wanted to bring in more people with dementia. So in the piece you're about to see involves 85 individual people with dementia, all saying, "I've got you," count them if you like. It features about half a dozen extracts from dementia diaries. It features I think 3 or 4 different singing groups from the DEEP network and lots of other contributions.
It's very, very frightening when you're first diagnosed with dementia. I would like to tell people not to be scared. Strange things are happening. I'm frightened that I'm going to forget her smile, her voice, her touch, the smell of her, and I'm frightened that I'm going to forget that, and I don't ever want to forget that.
You fell, but I've got you. But I've got you. Everyone is a bit scared. A bit scared. Sometimes I feel lost. But we are less scared together. Together. Together.
This morning I lay silent and gathered myself. I'm on the path again, looking out over the sea and the fields and the glistening grassy slopes. And I am alive still.
Together.
Don't be scared.
Carry a notebook to write your thoughts, to rage and rampage and not be alone. The hope, love and respect, the opportunity dementia brings. But still with a splendid smile of joy and peace, a curious opportunity to share ideas, knowledge and simply to understand. When faced with objection and unmanageability, the immensity of humanity, the beauty and forgiveness shines through. The guardians, the spirits, in their communicative way, ask, do we remember that new chapter in our lives? Then something stirs, our guardian angel reminding us that after all, we're still the same person. Still a mum fulfilling, communicating ideas, influencing, forgiving others, with patience, respect and love. After all, we're still the same person.
Mighty oaks from small acorns grow, And just like that mighty oak, that is what deep is. If there's a tree struggling, other trees send out their roots and they weave and knit around the roots of the struggling tree to help support it and bring it back. And that's just what deep do. If one of us is struggling, we reach out and we weave together, and we are all unique and wonderful. But together, we are a masterpiece.
I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. We'll stay together. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I got you. I've got you. I've got you. We'll stay together. I've got you. I've got you, babe. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. We'll stay together. I've got you. 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 We'll stay together. I've got you. 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 We'll stay together. I've got you. 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 I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you.
Me. I've got you.
I've got you.
I've got you. I've got you. I've got you. We're all in this together.
Excellent. Run it again.
You want, sometimes you want. I've got you in it. Right. 1, 2. be. But
Gosh. Well, I've got a bit of something in my eye.
Amazing.
Well, both great pieces, weren't they? And it's just it you know, it captures everything for me. That, you know, the passion and hope in your piece, Paul, and the kind of and the togetherness in the second one. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Help me, Rachel. I don't know what to say now. Do you think we should invite anyone?
Yeah, so what I was going to say was, at this point we've all been separated from each other in the whole week, and it's worked really well because we've been able to speak, to have the speakers just concentrating on each other. But we wondered if anybody, particularly people who have been who spotted themselves or heard their voice in that piece of music, if you would like to pop your camera on and join us on the screen, we would love to see you. Absolutely no obligation, but also if you would like to participate in any discussion now, but if we can all pull ourselves together, we might have. So yeah, absolutely no obligation, but it would be lovely to see you. And if you're happy, we would love to take a screenshot as we come to the end of this week. So lovely to see some people tidying up their hair as they enter the room.
Hazel, did you notice? And it was purely by chance, because when I put all of the I've got yous in, and it just so happened where Alison was saying from Belfast saying I've got you was the precise moment when your mass meeting came in, and 150 people with dementia also saying I've got you.
Oh,
together.
I didn't notice it till right at the end. Was it in twice? Was it?
It was immediately after Alison's. So we'll be putting that up on YouTube across the weekend, and we'll send you all the links so you can all watch it. Both, you know, and Paul's track as well, if Paul would like that.
George, did you have your card up? Did I see?
Yeah, I just wanted to say what a fantastic piece of work that is, piece of art. All of you who made it, Steve, you've worked miracles, and have Chris and Andrew and Paul and Tommy. Absolutely stunning, fantastic. Honestly, it's a great way to end the week, but not deep, of course. But it's just that and all the other stuff that's happened, especially today, has just been stunning, and it just makes me desperate for it all to go on.
Dory.
Yeah, well done, Steve. I knew it was going to be spectacular and emotional, but I haven't cried so much for ages in one day. Yeah, well done.
That moment when you come in, Dory, at the beginning, after Ray says that she's frightened of forgetting her daughter's face, and you say, "I've got you." Both Rachel and I imagined you dressed as the as some kind of fairy godmother. The wands with my twinkles, and I, you know, I had to make quite a few artistic decisions there. So putting yourself and George into that kind of bright white light, I hope it didn't seem too kind of, you know, heavenly, like, or, you know.
Well, no, it suited us very well, actually. Very angelic.
God, don't let them get carried away for
It's
crying
how
out
you
loud.
feel on a bad day when the fog comes down.
Paul from Springboard, and then Alison.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry I haven't been able to join you during the week, but I'm glad I've come today. It would be very useful if that could be produced as a DVD for people who've been newly prescribed with this horrible disease. And it would demonstrate that you're not on your own, there is a future, and people can get together and do something constructive. Not necessarily within their own group, but this is a credit to all the different organisations spread throughout the nation, pulling things together, and it shouldn't really go unnoticed. And I hope we could probably get some national publicity out of this. It's absolutely fantastic.
A few more people have said that in the chat box, actually. Yeah, what a alternative to what people are currently given, I guess.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. Alison.
Yeah, no, Steve, the beginning of it, you know, with the, you know, Dory and George behind the light, I thought was very appropriate, and it sort of made a big impact. But an amazing production, well done to everybody involved in that. I just can't wait until we're able to sort of share it with family and friends as well, you know, whenever we can get copies of it to actually, you know, put out, because obviously there's only ourselves sort of hearing it today, but it was so powerful. So a huge congratulations to everybody. It was truly amazing.
Well, it's a cliche to say that we couldn't have done it without you. But on this occasion, you know, nothing could be further from the truth.
George, and then Wendy.
I can't remember whether it was in that film or not, but I would like to think that you, Innovations team, are all credited in there with pictures, you know, as a sort of shot somewhere towards the end, because you deserve it. You need to be not just credited, but to actually be shown as part of what we all are. And without you, we wouldn't be. I know it's tearful.
Well, I just thought I'd leave us out so we could blame you lot if it all turned to pear.
Ah, cunning. Well, you can always edit back in again.
Paul?
No, it's Wendy first.
I think the music, especially at the beginning, it was so haunting. You know, it just set the scene for being diagnosed. It just said how you feel. And then when Dory came in, I mean, the whole thing was just stunning. But you've put it together so amazingly well.
Staggering.
I think I said in the chat box that words aren't enough. It was just amazing.
Thank you, Wendy.
Steve, do you just want to explain to Wendy the music at the beginning, what it is?
Well, actually, the music at the beginning is derived. It's partly a little bit of piano tinkering I did, but it's also some of Chris's horn, which I stuck into a gizmo box, dropped down by an octave, and turned backwards. But I wanted that sense of kind of disorientation.
That's Dory's life.
Yeah.
And it did it perfectly.
But then
Really
showing
did.
that when people come together and support each other, you know, that's because you've all said over the years, it's yourself. You've saved each other. And that's a celebration of the friendship, the solidarity, and the love that we've seen grow between you all over the last 10 years.
But you, as George said, you mustn't underestimate your part in all this. None of this would have happened without you all. And please include you all in this celebration, because without you, none of us would be here.
Oh, Wendy.
It's like this is like the best Christmas present. I mean, it's like Christmas. I don't care about the real one now.
Yeah.
This week has just been mind-blowing, changing, world-changing, whatever. It's absolutely incredible.
Oh, thank you, George. I just want to acknowledge in the chat box that Curtis have been in at all the sessions today, I think, up in Scotland, and they think it should go on YouTube and beyond, which is a great accolade. And the Happy Go Luckies are here as well, who are one of the choirs, one of the groups who participated down in Plymouth. So it's really lovely to have everybody here in the chat box. And there's so much love going on in the chat box, which we will try and circulate after. I'm conscious of time, and there's a couple of things we did want to say, but I'm going to go Paul and Francis and Chris.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I mean, the one thing that comes out of all this, which is, I think, 100% true, is that people living with dementia, we just love music. It's just one thing that will never ever leave us, whether it's jazz, classical, rock, folk, you name it. And I think this event proves it 100%, without a doubt, for me anyway. It's just a joy to take part in.
Thank you, Paul. Franny.
Yes, I just want to say a huge thank you, not just to all my friends that are here today, who've helped me through some of the worst things in my life, but to you lot at Innovations, who have made such a difference to my life, and clearly listening to everyone else's lives as well. Never would I have met so many of you. Never would I have been part of what has gone on, and never have I been more grateful. So thank you all.
Thank you, Franny. I mean, I hope you all know, I think I've said it in some chat box today at some point, that actually we get as much support and energy from all of you as you say that you do from us, and I really, really mean that. Chris.
No, I had my card up to say that Paul had his card up. But while I've got an open mic, it's just one huge hug, isn't it? It's just everybody, and I think we finish on a high. It's funny how when you're really happy, you can sound quite sad. And listening here, people are really happy, yeah, I mean, it's been a great week, and doing that symphony as I think just sums up everything about Deep, doesn't it? That I've got you, and it really has. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And I guess that maybe one of my takeaways is actually how emotionally open everybody is to each other, and what a lot we gain by that. So although it can be very moving and very powerful, and we've had quite a lot of those, somebody said we need handkerchiefs, and we absolutely did. We should have been branding Deep handkerchiefs this week. But the kind of that safe space, you have to feel safe, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, to feel like you can open yourself emotionally. And I think even in these spaces, which are quite public, we don't actually know who else is here with us, you've all just opened yourselves, because I hope you feel safe. So we have 2 minutes to go. I just wanted to kind of acknowledge, I don't know if any of my colleagues want to chip in, but a few of you have said, we can't, Deep can't go, Deep can't, the rug would be pulled from under me if Deep went. And you know, there is a reality, I guess, about funding and the way the projects occur, and DEEP has successfully acquired funding for the last 10 years, which has got us to today, and we're still in the funding zone. We still have funding for another year for this phase of DEEP, and you'll know that we've been talking to lots of people about DEEP and what it looks like and what it feels like and how we might support it to thrive and continue. So there's a certain reality check that we have to acknowledge, that this phase of funding is coming to an end at the end of 2023, but we are absolutely committed to that, you know, keeping that core, the core of this, the core of what we're trying to achieve. And we have worked out what the core of it looks like by talking to you. So Innovations in Dementia is not walking away from that, I guess. Wendy?
You just need to show funders this session.
Yeah.
This session says it all. You can't write this on paper.
Well, if you read Steve's blog about the music, that talks about how we measure what DEEP is. You know, how do you measure it? And it is difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to compare what we've talked about this week to other more kind of formal measurements and outcomes and things. So maybe with your help over the next year, we can do that. Dory,
I don't think you can measure it only through this session and all the sessions. Can you measure it? There's nothing else like it.
George?
Well, I would say there is a social return on investment use which takes into account well-being, and you know, the well-being would be incredible. Everybody's been saying, you know, you've saved our lives, you've given us new lives. That's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Any final comments? Steve, this has been your session. Would you like to conclude it? Or Chris, or Paul, or Tommy?
Yeah, just don't forget the screenshot of the faces. The happy smiling faces.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, Chris, marvellous.
I think Paul had put in the chat that we give you 3 cheers.
Yeah. Everybody unmute then. Let's go for it. I'll do the hip hips. Everyone ready? Everyone unmuted.
Well, thank you to DEEP and Innovations in Dementia. Hip hip.
Hip.
Hey!
Hip.
Hey!
Hip hip.
Hey!
Okay, you're jolly good fellows. Okay, you're jolly good fellows.
Thank you so much, everyone.
You've just seen why we didn't do music live on Zoom, for that very reason. And everyone who helped out, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for helping this to come together.
Has somebody taken a screenshot?
Yes.
Yeah, if it is a screenshot. So thank you so much. We will get the music up really, really quickly. It will probably be Monday now, I imagine. So and the idea of DVDs is a really intriguing one, actually. So yeah, just leave all. We've got a lot to dissect, but thank you so much for all your commitments to us and to each other.
Thank you.
Happy Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Oh yeah, happy Christmas. Happy New Year.
On a deep New Year.